After its reveal last summer during the Final Fantasy VII 25th anniversary stream, everyone was clamouring for more information about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. We would have to wait a year until we learnt more, as some concrete gameplay, lore, and world-based information was divulged via a satisfying trailer that was revealed as part of the Summer Game Fest. But with the promise given that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth would be releasing during early 2024, thoughts naturally turned to when the next big information drop would be. There had been rumours rumbling around for some time that Sony would be delivering a new state of play in September, and this rumour was spurred on by what many perceived to be a lacklustre showing in the previous state of play that happened towards the beginning of the summer. PlayStation then announced on the 13th of September that there would indeed be a state of play, and it would focus on updates to previously announced games coming to PlayStation consoles, and these updates will be split across indie and PSVR 2 games, as well as major upcoming titles from third-party players. As with all events like this, there's an expectation that something Final Fantasy related will be shown, and as the hours counted down, numerous things happened to suggest Rebirth may indeed appear, one of which was Wario64 posting what appeared to be a sponsored tweet promoting pre-orders for the game. When Sean Benson, the director and head of portfolio for global third-party relations, then came on screen towards the end of the presentation to tease that there was one more update from Square Enix, there was nothing left to do but brace for what was about to come. Having now watched the trailer an uncomfortable amount of times, it's safe to say it delivered. And what's impressive is just how much information was packed in despite the trailer only being 3 minutes and 15 seconds long. We got to see plenty of friendly faces throughout, and there was even some increased exposure for the likes of XIII. But beyond that, there was also more focus placed around the environments we'll get to explore, the monsters we'll encounter, and of course, how the combat system will evolve. Still, given how much was packed in there and how shiny everything was, you'd be forgiven for being so bedazzled that you missed some of the more subtle details. But don't worry, we've got you covered. So here are some of the things you may have missed from the recent Final Fantasy VII Rebirth trailer that just dropped during the September State of Play broadcast. The first place we're going to start is with Sephiroth. The powerful and iconic villain had a heavy presence throughout the trailer. It's clear, based on this, that the role of Sephiroth will continue to expand within Rebirth, and this will relate to appearances that are real, appearances that are illusions, and perhaps the most intriguingly, appearances that are part of flashbacks. Around halfway through the trailer, we received confirmation that we would fight alongside Sephiroth, just as in the original game. This came during the middle of an apt section that focused on synergy attacks, as Cloud and Sephiroth combine their strength to tackle what appears to be the notorious Materia Keeper. This in itself is an intriguing detail, as in the original game, the Materia Keeper did not surface as part of the flashback sequence. It would instead be fought much later when the party returned to Nibelheim. Another smaller detail relates to the two protagonists during this section. Due to their respective status, Cloud is a relative novice compared to Sephiroth, and the original game ensured this was apparent by giving Sephiroth grossly inflated attributes and combat capabilities. In the trailer, we got to see a subtle allusion to this, as Cloud's maximum HP looked to be less than Sephiroth's, as did his MP pool. But if you look closely, it also appeared as though Sephiroth's damage output was much higher than Cloud's. For example, at this point, Sephiroth landed a strike of 240 damage, whereas Cloud only managed 27. On the subject of synergy attacks, they appear to be back, and they appear to be expanded in scope and scale. This mechanic was introduced during episode intermission as a way of enhancing the combat system. As players could only control Yuffie, the synergy mechanic was crucial for ensuring players still felt like Sonon was an active part of the combat setting. But here, the lack of control won't be an issue, and it seems as though this part of the system will now be baked in. As part of the small montage, we got to see synergy attacks being performed by Yuffie and Barret, called Ninja Carbine, Sephiroth and Cloud, called Double Helix, and Aerith and Ketchi, called Cannonade. And in the case of the final pairing, which saw Aerith seem to feed Ketchi's oversized Moogle some materia before it fired a huge laser beam out of its mouth, a special infinity symbol appeared within the party menu. It's unclear what this means, but it only appeared following the conclusion of the attack, and only on the 2 active participants in the synergy attack, so it must be connected. After having a very small cameo within Remake, it was assumed that Ketchi would have a much larger role within Rebirth. This has of course now been confirmed by the trailer, as Ketchi had story sequences with Cloud and the wider party, but also, as just mentioned, appears within the combat setting. Outside of the synergy attack with Aerith, we got to see quite a lot of the toolkit, and that Ketchi will make use of the robotic Moogle companion, but also deliver a punch itself. This implies some kind of switching mechanic where the player can choose which mode they want to engage. The biggest hint around this came from Ketchi's powerful variant move. At the start of the sequence, when it was Ketchi in isolation, this was called Kitty Wallop. In this mode, we got to see 3 abilities featured within the shortcut menu: Let's Ride, Lucky Roll, and Dodge and Dive. But after using the Let's Ride ability, which consumed 1 ATB bar, the giant Moogle appeared and the variant move switched to Dropkick. To reflect this status change, a small icon also appeared on the party menu next to Ketchi's ATB bar. In addition to Ketchi, there was also a very unsubtle showing for Vincent Valentine, but as to whether he will be playable within Rebirth remains to be seen. What we could see is a situation similar to Remake, where Red 13 appeared as a supporting character that could not be controlled. And in that regard, it sounds like it will be a similar situation for Sid Highwind, as Tetsuya Nomura confirmed that there will be characters who are accompanying members in Rebirth that will become official party members in the next title. Red 13 has now of course been integrated into the full experience, and a short segment in the trailer focused on his combat capabilities. This showcased Red 13 as a melee-based character with a high degree of mobility, but perhaps the most curious element is Vengeance Mode. This was shown in the trailer, but in a supporting blog post, Naoki Hamaguchi, who's the director of Rebirth, expanded on this move. Red 13 will feature both an ATB gauge and a revenge gauge. This will build up when he defends against enemy attacks, and it can then be spent on unique abilities. Hamaguchi noted that they hope this will make Red 13 a unique character, as to maximize his skills, the player will need to blend offensive and defensive actions. Now, due to the reappearance of Zack Fair, and however that will play into the wider events of the game, we also got to see the reappearance of Kyrie, as well as Elmira Gainsborough, a very curious thing to show, considering the relationship we know Elmira has with Zack. Rufus will also get more time in the spotlight as the new president of Shinra, and it was awesome to see that the notorious welcoming ceremony sequence will return in its full glory, emphasized by the change formation prompt appearing just above the command menu. However, it does appear as though there will be a distinct spin this time around, as Cloud is serving as the leader of the troop as opposed to filling in at the back. Further to that, it seems as though other characters from the Midgar portion will return, including Andrea, the dancing owner of the Honeybee Inn. Andrea, however, now appears to be part of the Gold Saucer, but that's not 100% confirmed. It's just speculation based on his segment appearing right after they show the Gold Saucer and everything else following it being part of the Gold Saucer. On that note, it looks as though this iconic location will feature in full form. We got to see characters dressing up thanks to the glamorous Yuffie, we got to see what appears to be the owner and operator of the Gold Saucer, Dio, and perhaps most importantly, we got to see a ton of different mini-games. Chocobo Racing was the first to be shown, and it appears as though this has been given a significant spruce up in comparison to the original game. Cloud will have the ability to speed up and slow down, and also perform a nice Chocobo Drift. There will also be the options to perform a speed burst and a quick dash. Further to this, we also got to see some components of the Wonder Square, as an enhanced version of the 3D Battler will return, hopefully without the undefeatable final foe, as did the G-Bike Simulator. This alludes to the other mini-games also reappearing, such as snowboarding and Super Dunk, but we'll have to wait and see. Within the PlayStation blog interview, it was however confirmed that the Ferris wheel sequence will return. On the subject of chocobos, they will also be returning as a mode of transport for traversal around the world map. And what's cool here is that there will be different coloured chocobos. We got to see a green chocobo that was capable of flight, something that was enhanced within one of the promotional images thanks to the amazing sight of Red 13 riding a chocobo. The trailer also showed off black chocobos, which can be seen traversing a mountain. And this alludes to there being a ton of exploration possibilities within Rebirth, something that gives credence to the developers saying that this will be a much more expansive game than Remake. Beyond that, there were also some other modes of transport featured. This will see the buggy from the original game return, but we also got to see Cloud rolling around on a Segway inside Costa del Sol. On the theme of expansion, the trailer confirmed that Alexander, Odin, and Kujata will appear as 3 new summons. They will each have designs that are faithful to the original, but what's curious here is that Hamaguchi also stated that Rebirth will feature an array of summons that are over and above the previous game, and this means Rebirth will feature an original summon that did not feature in the original Final Fantasy VII. It's also been confirmed by the Square Enix store that those who played Remake and Intermission will be rewarded with additional summon materia. Players of Remake will be granted access to Leviathan, whereas those who played Intermission will be given Ramuh. Nomura also reiterated that the order in which you can explore the locations is not the same as the original game. Wutai, for example, will not feature within Rebirth, but will feature within the 3rd game. However, Rebirth will conclude with the events of the Forgotten Capital, where Nomura notes the greatest fate of Final Fantasy VII awaits you. There are sure to be twists and turns along the way, however, and this was alluded to within the trailer by the mysterious man masquerading as a Sephiroth clone. There's a lot of speculation going around as to who this might be, with Reeve, Genesis, and even Glenn from the First Soldier appearing as possible candidates, or it could be an original character. We don't have too much longer to wait though, as it was confirmed at the end of the trailer that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth will be releasing on 2 discs on the 29th of February 2024. But with that, that's the end of this breakdown. Be sure to let us know in the comments what your favourite part of the trailer was, or if there was anything crucial you felt we missed. And if you enjoyed this video, feel free to give us a like and subscribe for more content. Alright everyone, with that, this is Daryl signing out. As always, I'd like to give a big thank you to all of our Patreon and YouTube membership supporters, especially Adam Aguilara, Arguan, Benjamin Snow, The Livestream, Galcian D. Kujata, Gregory, Justin Dent, and Zukan TDK, who are super special Onion Knight supporters. And of course, a big thank you to everyone for watching this video. I'll see you all again soon for more Final Fantasy goodness.